Yeah, so this Aussie, so this EuroCAD, I was getting
Darwin,
Erica and I got the alert, and I guess there was like some news about the tariffs with Trump. So there's
no,
actually this very big spike that happened super randomly during Asia.
no,
Now,
no.
honestly,
Yeah.
it's Friday. I, usually when we get big wicks like this based off of like some news event, typically what I then kind of want to wait for is I want to see for like a secondary setup, right? So I kind of want to wait for the 4 hour now to kind of give me some sort of like re-entry. Um, yeah, the fact that it's Friday too, I'm just a little bit more. I think I'm just gonna wait on this one for next week. I don't think we hit this low to be honest. Let me just make sure, like in the economic calendar, I'm pretty sure there's not like any crazy high impact news today. Um, actually there is employment rate for CAD at 8:30 a.m. So in about 3 minutes. But we'll see how this one plays out.
Mm.
But yeah, I usually don't like when I actually see something like this, to be honest, because then it makes it more difficult for the entry. Because it's like you get this really big wick on the hourly time frame, on the 4 hour time frame,
Collision.
based off of a Trump
Yeah.
tweet, and then just makes the market kind of like a little bit more choppy, so to speak. Now, I do think ES, um, I don't want to fade anything
Darwin,
like reversals, but this does look like
má mơ hồ nữa hả?
let me move
Cũng,
this. This actually does
ồ,
look like we might fade down into these equal.
cũng,
I'm going to see how
ừ.
this one plays out at the open as well. We already kind of hit this fair value gap, but as you guys know, I kind of like to wait for on indices specifically after the market open. But this kind of looks like a little bit of SMT as well, and we're getting that potential Friday reversal.
Anh không biết kìm luôn.
So we'll see how this one ultimately plays out. Um, Let me go. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin. Oh shit. Yeah, sorry guys. Let me mute. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, now GU, like this is what I was talking about. I forgot who brought this up yesterday, but this is exactly why I do these live streams, and I want you guys. The benefit of this is to listen. Yeah, trade ideas are nice and cool, but I want you guys to understand why I trade like the way I trade is very like specific. Because I know someone was talking about like yesterday about this, and I said like, well, the problem with going long, right? Just because we're at support does not mean we're going long because we're still showing bearish structure, right? On the downside. Now, you could take the short if you're like someone like if you're short bias and you think that the pound's going to go much lower and you think DXY is going to go much higher, right? If you have like a bias like that, that's no problem. But the problem with going long here, I remember even mentioned this yesterday, on the 4 hour time frame, you're fighting a lot of resistance, right? We have these prior structural lows, we have this swing point, we have this fair value gap, and look what happens. We have this 4 hour EBP that formed, and then we end up selling off and taking out these equal lows, right? That 4 hour EBP, let's see what time this happened last. Oh, this was happening in Asia. All right. But yeah, so yeah, I want to bring this one up because exactly that's kind of like the point I was trying to illustrate yesterday is like it's just gonna fight through a lot of support to be honest. Um, Let me actually keep so EuroCAD's here. The problem with EuroCAD now is just like trying to find an entry on this. It did retest that fair value gap candle low, but yeah, usually I ignore the wick. So imagine like this wick that wasn't here. Now it's like imagine this is like the front side move, right? If that makes sense. Just because again with the wick, it's kind of like makes price action a little bit more choppy. Wow. And then yeah, there goes it. There goes on the news. Damn. So 29 minutes until this candle closes. So if we actually were to get like a 4 hour EBP at 9 a.m., this would then be the backside move I'm talking about. Whoops. To look to target down into this, into these lows. So that's what I'm gonna wait for. 29 minutes. I'm gonna let the news play out and then see how this candle closes. If it just kind of just tanks, then yes, it is what it is. But I want to see a 4 hour closure, ideally 4 hour EBP. This would be pretty ideal. So I'm gonna check it back at in 29 minutes. Um, but this does look good now. You see what I mean? Because like when I get a big wick like this, I ignore it. So like ICT brought this up in one of his old IC commentaries where it's like if you see a big wick based off of news that happened like this, what I do then is I ignore the wick and I start to look at like imagine there was no wick and maybe the wick was like up to here, right? Just imagine that for a sec. Then you see how the market's pushing up, the market's pushing up, right? We have this is kind of like the market is bullish structure on the way up. Now we're kind of on the backside move from the swing point, right? We're kind of on that backside move. We'll get that confirmation that we're looking for. If this closes an ABP, can you enter like a little bit premature? Yeah, but like again, I want to see the 4 hour closure. Yeah, I just want to see the 4 hour closure. I'm gonna see how this one ultimately plays out. But yeah, on that news, just like automatically just tanked, taking out the golden hour range high. So we'll see how this one sets up going into that 9 a.m. hour. Um, I really do think this ES takes out these equal lows, but again, with indices, I like to wait for that 9:30 to see because we took out pretty much the prior week high. We faded after we took out liquidity and we kind of retested here, boom, retested. And now, like to me, there's no real, I guess you can consider this like as a support. We're kind of in a discount, so we'll see. Um, but yeah, gold. Also, like I know someone brought this up yesterday, where like in terms of gold, right? We were at this potential point. That's why I was not like really with this 4 hour ABP, and I even said it with this 4 hour ABP. The problem with this one is you're kind of fighting against support. Like yes, it could have potentially came back down in here, but that's like a near-term objective. It actually came back, gave a little bit of a retest here, but I even said like the thing that didn't make it the most ideal was because in terms of this trend line liquidity, we already swept liquidity. And then when this happens, right, you have to think when this type of move happens, if the market is going to continue bullish, usually the market will take out some sort of liquidity pool and then start to head higher. And then we kind of just started pushing up overnight. So I'll be honest, this would have been a nice long in I don't even think it retested though. Let's see that 4 hour order block. Yeah, I don't think it retested in London, but this would have been a nice confirmation. Like I like when I see this. If I see overall a higher time frame swing structure, like the on the daily time frame, I do like this when you get like the order block that forms. So when you have this swing point bearish structure, the market does retest takes out the it was I think this was the Asia range low, and then we actually create a changing state of price, and we could target that prior high as a potential objective. But this one actually like I wish it actually would have retested during New York Open. This would have been nice. Euro CAD does look pretty good, so we'll see again. 26 minutes. Yeah, let me know if you guys want me to look at anything as well. Damn, closed with 4% profit, enter with 30 minutes CISD backside move. Yeah, beautiful. I'm assuming you're talking about EuroCAD, right? Yeah, man, that's the thing. Like, you don't have to wait. Like, for again, that's why I urge you guys, man. Like, I might want to wait for a 4 hour time frame for the confirmation when I see something like that. But if you guys want to get in on, like, let's just say, a backside structural move on 30 minute, 1 hour, whatever the case is, you can do that. Like this, again, map out your structural points, your order blocks, right? The market is forming swing highs, swing lows. The market broke back structure around here, and then there's you could either have entered maybe on the push up over here, let's see on the 15 minute. Yeah, like somewhere here, maybe put a stop loss there. Like it's really dependent on how you want to do it. But yeah, good trade, Raj Kumar. It was definitely a backside move on the 30 minute and, and the 15 minute because we did break this prior structural low in here. We'd even get a closure right here below below it. And then the market retests and then yeah. Um yes. Let's see, Euro. Euro, let me see the four, the daily, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie, like this would I would typically like this 1 hour ABP because we did take out liquidity. Um, but it's just counter trend relative to the daily time frame, right? Because we're kind of at a daily bearish ABP. We did not take out the daily bearish ABP low. So it's one of those situations where it's kind of like, yeah. Because I really want to train you guys to like not just take any single EBP that you see that forms that takes liquidity. Like it has to also have like some sort of context. Like even if these work, it's just for me, I just don't like trading. Yeah, because you're kind of going against the current daily leg, right? So the swing low to swing high, which is pretty much this daily EBP. Um, Well, the daily EBP is actually from here to here, so yeah. And we even have a four. This is the 4 hour EBP actually. Did not take out that low, so it's like trying to go. Yeah, could this be a short? It's just so choppy that I'm gonna probably avoid this one. Hopefully, EuroCAD is the one that sets up because that's kind of been the one I'm watching for. Duh, duh, duh. But yeah, let me know if you guys want me to look through anything as well. AMO just would like to check, do we have the same candle closing time for a 4 hour candle? My trading view 4 hour candle closure is at 10 a.m. EST. For which asset, AMO? And for, yeah, for which asset? Let me know. And if it's like a Forex asset, let me know what the broker is. Melissa, damn, close profit on your account on my funded account right on the news. I think the profit will be canceled. Yeah, like you got to be mindful of that. Like usually, again, depending on the firm, 2 minutes before and 2 minutes after. So if you're gonna hold through news, you have to hold through like 8:33. If it's 2 minutes, some firms are 5 minutes. So if that firm is 5 minutes, you have to close at like 8:36. So just always be mindful of that when you trade news on the funded account. Usually, unless you have a swing account where you're allowed to trade news, then yeah. I'm glad some of you guys call EuroCAD because again, I don't want you guys to always just be dependent on like whenever I take a trade because sometimes I'll miss a trade, but if there's a setup that you guys see, right? Like again, this was a nice retest of the fair value gap high, beautiful push up back into the daily EBP candle, right? Like look at how the daily EBP is now forming, where instead of this order block, if you're comfortable and you want to just short this, you can. I wasn't to be fair, I wasn't even awake on this. This was what 6 a.m. Yeah. 6 a.m., 7 o'clock. Like I literally woke up around like 8. Yeah. So like if you see something like that and you guys want to like take the play, just like I'm happy that you guys are doing that because again, that's the whole point of this is to become like self-dependent. Because again, with the commentary again, if the commentary and I tell you the higher time frame is A plus from me, like you can just look for the entries and then it helps you as well to not be dependent, to be able to identify this in real time. CAD CHF, Omar daily and 4 hour EVP. Let's see, CAD CHF. CAD CHF should be bullish based off the news. Technically because yeah, so because dollar CAD ended up pushing. So usually if this type of pair, right, XX like USD CAD, Euro CAD, GBP CAD, and then CAD like CHF or CAD whatever, usually these are going to be inverse. So if this is dropping, this is going to be bullish. So typically, if I'm watching Euro CAD for shorts, right, then CAD CHF in most cases will be that as well. It's going to be the same thing but inverse. But I do like this 4 hour EBP. So it's pretty much the same setup but in reverse, right? Like if this is a 4 hour EBP, let's see the daily time frame. Same exact thing. Same exact thing, right? Literally the same thing. We have a bullish daily EBP here. And on the daily time frame, we have a bearish there, EBP there, and we have a 4 hour forming here. And on CAD THF, same exact thing. The 4 hour is forming a bullish one as well. Yeah, so exactly, Amo. So on Forex, the candle closed at 9 a.m. EST on the 4 hour bar. On futures, however, it closed at 10 a.m. EST. So futures is 1 hour. So it's like if the candle closure for FX is 5 a.m., right? It's going to be 6 a.m. on futures. All right. Yeah, I don't know if this EuroCAD might this is pretty much gonna be the only one thing that I'm watching for. And if it does come back up, I'll look to see if there's like any fair value gap that kind of forms. But yeah, let me know if you guys want me to look over anything because yeah, I think my focus is gonna be on CAD, to be honest. Do, do, do. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on, just getting a phone call real quick. Yeah, sorry guys, I was on the phone. My brother was calling me. Yeah, can I look at oil? Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, so I made a voice note yesterday, and I know like maybe sometimes let me go find it for you guys. So I made a voice note yesterday about this right here, right? Understanding a simple concept, trades in play. And I want you guys to listen to that if possible, because when it's very important because like for me like for me oil does not look enticing. Now why does it not look enticing? When I look at the daily time frame, I'm just getting small ranges. I'm getting up candles, down candles, up candles, small ranges, down big ranges, small ranges. When I see this, I'm not interested in the thing because it's just not optimal. Like the daily time frame is ugly. Not only that, but then even on the lower time frame, it's like, well, I guess maybe like there's an hourly thing here, there's a 4 hour fair value gap. Yeah, but then again, man, we're sitting in a 4 hour bullish fair value gap as well. So then when we're in this scenario, when the market is trading in between these levels, right? Think about it. It's like ping pong. The market is essentially having a resistance and it has a support, and the market is just bouncing back and forth between this range. So asset selection is so much different versus like look at Euro CAD. Even last night it offered like a really like big drop right at the fair value gap closure as well. And why? Because again, the daily and the weekly are kind of in alignment. Look at the different plays that we talked about earlier in the week, right? GBP, JPY, this push up that we anticipated, 200 plus pips. I even talked about it with you guys. Bitcoin, I was very bullish on Bitcoin, right? At this pretty much this daily structure because there was a higher high that was needed to be met on the weekly time frame. And we just kind of go to that right? On the weekly time frame, we were at this, we created a swing point, we created an order block, and I want to see a new higher high, right? And what did we get? We get big moves like this, man. Like even ES yesterday, right? Daily time frame wanted to potentially push, right? When the market was like in this moment in here, I want to see this next daily candle come down and push to new highs and get what did we do yesterday, right? Same thing. The market pushes and we get these big moves. And that's why I really want to show you guys like find clean higher time frame plays, and there's gonna be bigger, better moves. Asset selection is very, very important in my opinion. So that's what I kind of talk about because Lance Brightson, who's like one guy that I follow, yeah, he pretty much talks about that when it comes to stocks. That, and mind you, he's made like 8 figures multiple years in a row with a prop firm called Trillium. He's on Riz's podcast as well, so if you guys want to go listen to him speak. But he talks about stocks in play. Same thing that I always refer to here is like assets in play. What am I watching for in order to allow me to, yeah, like exactly that. Like, what am I watching for in order to kind of get that understanding of like, hey, you know what? Like this has a bigger potential play because I don't want to be in trades that consolidate. All right. That's why I'm very picky on my plays because at the end of the day, I know what drains my mental capital is being in consolidation or being in bad trades. Like that bothers me. Like, right, I don't want to be in trade. And obviously we never know for sure if the trade's gonna go in our favor quickly or if we're gonna get a big move. Sometimes we have a good daily bias and we don't even get a good move, right? Or the move might be choppy. We don't know that, but I want to increase my odds of being in like really solid trades. So yeah, all that is to say, like with oil, I just don't see the appeal for this one because of everything that I kind of mentioned in here. So yeah. Which is not bad, like at the end of the day, because you like it's just experience at the end of the day. Once you gain experience, you'll be able to kind of see this as well. Hey Omar, can you provide your breakdown of the BTC trade you called out earlier in the week? Yeah, Faz. And I caught this, but it was on spot plays. It wasn't like with leverage. So like percentage wise, it's nothing super crazy. Like percentage wise is I mean like it's really, really good. 10% just on this week alone. So on spot, the spot bags are solid. But again, so I always start off higher time frame. Now this one's different because this one I started off on a quarterly chart, right? 3 month because a new candle opened up at the beginning of this month. So we have a EBP, and I know that again, what do I know? That the probability of this EBP candle being hit is very high. See, and it's so funny because like some people, I remember in my YouTube comments, someone was like, "Oh, well, if the market closes like right there, guess what? Like that doesn't matter because if the market hits that area, it's right there." But they're thinking so short term. Like if this is a weekly time frame, if this is a monthly time frame, if this is a daily time frame, this move that they consider small is a huge move. This is from 107K to 111K. That's a $4,000 move percentage wise on Bitcoin, right? That's gonna be over five. That's 5%. And that's not even including like if you can get a lower time frame entry. So people who say that are just, again, this is people are interesting, man, is all I'm gonna say. Is because like you give people game and they just try to, instead of just like maybe trying to find a way to make it work, they're gonna try to find poke holes in it, which is just it's just stupid. But whatever. Now, it's also the same thing now in the weekly time frame, right? So I go down one time frame lower. We have this fair value gap and the market changed and created this order block. Beautiful. Now I know that there's also a higher high. This is going to be a higher high on the weekly time frame because we have the swing structure. The market potentially formed a higher low, and there's no real point B. Like it's kind of like clear sailing ahead, right? Like there's no real resistance. So I love that. Then on the see how I'm going from time frame to time frame. Now, let me remove all the drawings. Now I'm on the daily time frame. So all I'm looking for is a swing structure on the daily time frame. So what do we have here? We have a swing low that swept liquidity, broke above. This is within that weekly order block. And I'm just going to do this. Right. So then what happens? The market comes down. We do another sweep of liquidity, right? Push up. And now we created a fair value gap. And we also created a daily EVP that was formed in here, right? We did take out the EVP high, but again, it doesn't matter to me because I'm still looking for bullishness. Now, all you're looking for is the market to come back inside of this overall range, right? And then I was anticipating this weekly candle. I talked about in the beginning that I want to see this weekly candle push up. So what are we going to look for? We're going to look for the candle open, the market to drop down to a key level, and then have the expansion. Where's that key level? That key level is on the daily time frame at this fair value gap, right? This is a swing structure where instead of discount of the overall prior week's range, as well. We're testing this order block multiple times, and then we have that shift higher. And there's a 12-hour EVP as well that formed. This could have been the confirmation. The market tests, tests, tests. And that's why I told you guys I don't like trading the 1 hour realistically or the 4 hour on BTC most times because look, 12 hours, right? This is essentially like 3 days, and then the market pushes up. We come back into this fair value gap, and then we have that next surge up. Like again, it's I hopefully I don't make it like sound complicated, but it really is this simple. And again, this wasn't a hindsight example. Like we talked about this, and that's why I said in the beginning, I'm really interested in Bitcoin this week. Like GJ and BTC were kind of, and EuroCAD as well, right? But we'll see if EuroCAD provides any opportunities. Let me just keep it up in a separate chart. Yeah, guys. But again, like these types of plays, like those are what I strive on. Like I do well in these market conditions when I have weekly time frames, daily time frames aligning, because it becomes so much easier to get these really big moves. And that's why I think a lot of you guys came from like my public telegram over the last few years. And again, you guys have seen like me do this consistently. And it's not because I'm doing anything crazy. Right? I see all these people talk about all these crazy concepts, bro. You don't need any of that stuff, respectfully. Can you look at GA? Like I could have a whole talk on just like people trying to overcomplicate stuff, man. GA, let's go to the daily. Looks like we're breaking out of the consolidation. I could definitely see this fair value gap on the monthly getting hit. But it's kind of like right there though. That's the only problem. Yeah. I don't really see like it's likely to go down here, but it's like pretty much like right there already. Um yeah, but like I'll be honest, like prior to this move, like I wouldn't have seen really anything. I know there's like a maybe a 4 hour ABP, but it's like very did it take out the high? I don't think so. But whatever, like regardless, we created a bearish order block in here. Um yeah, it would have been difficult for me personally to have anticipated this move. Yeah, Faz asked Euro CAD versus GBP CAD, so I kind of referred to it a little bit earlier, but oh no, GBP CAD, my bad, I'm sorry. So this one, so remember I talked about like if Euro CAD or Dollar CAD, if any of these pairs are going to be bearish or bullish, typically they're all going to follow suit. It's the same thing like Dollar Yen, Euro JPY. Like when you're trading cross pairs, that's what's typically going to happen, right? They're all going to kind of follow suit, especially if there's news. Like there was a EuroCAD news event. Now, there was a nice fair value gap here. I remember I talked about this earlier in the week that I didn't like the fact that we're kind of sitting at support and resistance. But look what happens here. Like on the news event is finally what sends the market lower, where we end up taking liquidity, create a fair value gap, the market retest. In my opinion, though, and this one actually formed the 4 hour EVP prior to the news. So this one would have actually gave you a pretty nice entry prior to the news because we would have got that 4 hour EVP. The market retraces back into that area. Nice 1 hour fair value gap. Like this is a very nice one, actually. I like this. Let me map it out a little bit cleaner. Okay, so let's just sync this. Beautiful. And let me put this on. So look what happens here on the news event, right? Same news event, the market rallies back into that fair value gap. But if we go to the 4 hour time frame, right? Because yeah, because you can see it much cleaner on the 4 hour. Beautiful retest of this order block. There's a fair value gap, swing low, swing high. Beautiful retest. Broke it down. So remember I told you guys like what I ignore the wick, right? I ignore the wick of these types of moves. But look at the difference. This is now would have been my confirmation. It's kind of the same exact thing that's kind of happening here, right? Where I'm ignoring the wick, but I want to see some sort of confirmation, right? That confirmation came on GBP CAD, right? When you ignore the wick, you see like let's say the wick was a little bit smaller, right? Boom, boom. And then we retest that fair value gap one more time. Beautiful EBP. Then the mark on the next candle comes into the EBP candle fair value gap on the 1 hour. This is beautiful. Like this is, I really like when I see this. When I see a nice 4 hour EBP in line with the overall structure, this could be a near-term low as a target. This the overall lower low, right? From the swing structure from here to here, that lower low could be the target. And guess what? Beautiful 1 hour fair value gap. Entry, stop loss above the candle bar high, because again, you don't need to minimize the stop loss because this can't because this I mean if you really want to be very tight with your entry, but there's no need. Like this was only like a few pip difference. But beautiful. And look what happens. Beautiful sweep below prior week lows on the news and off to the races. And this actually happened before the news. So this was actually very nice. What time did this candle? Yeah, so around the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock a.m. And then on the news just sent it further lower. But beautiful, but you see again, like everything's in alignment, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the daily. When you have these things in alignment, that is, in my opinion, when you kind of have like a good synergy for big moves like this. And obviously, because again, this move happened before the news event. The news event happened at 8:30. So by that point, you would have already been sitting pretty in profit. All right. I'm gonna head out in like about 5, 10 minutes, guys, because I have to meet up with my brother in the city for something. He needs my help with something. So let me go through these questions. Initially when I joined Discord, I thought the same that you trade small ranges. Nah, Raj Kumar. I need big ranges. It seems small on the weekly time frame. That's what people don't understand. And I've talked about this before. It seems small on the weekly time frame, but like um but on the when you catch an intraday play, like you get big moves, really big moves. Like okay, like for example, GJ, right? Um on the daily time frame, right? This move looks like okay, this is a pretty average move, right? But then when you go down to the 1 hour, you see this. That's what I mean. Like these are big ranges, man. Don't get fooled because like, oh yeah, the daily is like, oh well, he's just looking for the market from here. Like let's say the market from here to here. That's not that big of a range, bro. If anyone ever tells you that, you just tell them, well, hey, this one's 53 pips. But overall, for that whole thing, that was 200 pips, man. And it went way further. Like I even said up to the 200s. Obviously didn't hold all the way there, but 300 pip range. You catch 150, 50% of that range, and you can capitalize on, you're going to make a very good living. How high do you think ETH will go? Yeah, for me, I think ETH is going to go to all-time highs. I've been talking about it religiously on Twitter. I'm actually going to look for a swing trade, but with margin on one of the CFD brokers. I just want to see this range kind of form. On the dip buy, I'll be honest, I was thinking to take it along on the with margin, right? Like again, spot is different. Spot is just you buy, you hold, that's it. But these equal highs, man, are just so obvious to me. And then when we go to the 3 month, right? The 3 month, we also took out this swing structure and we're going to potentially create a changing state of price. Also, Bitcoin 3 month time frame. Now, unless some sort of news happens, which like typically Trump like will tweet some shit, like look what happened last night. I just think that there's no reason to think, and we're inverting this fair value gap. If this monthly closure also inverts this fair value gap, like to me, there's no reason not to think that we're going to hit 4,100. And then at this point, 4,100 all-time high is right next to it at 48. So I'm very bullish on this. I'm actually looking for a margin play on this for a swing trade. I just need to see this inversion. And then if we invert, guess what? We have a beautiful breaker point. I'll probably just buy the dip on like a margin account, put my stop loss below the weekly candle bar low, and just ride this up. So this is the trade I'm watching for going into you theoretically it can kind of happen next week on the weekly time frame. You don't need to wait for the monthly candle closure. It'll be a little bit better, but the problem is if you wait for that closure, that's 20 days, right? I'm not trying to wait 20 days for a trade, but something like this, right? Well, on a margin play with margin, like you again, that's 4.4 R on the weekly time frame. So it's kind of like a swing trade that I'm not going to really watch, but I'm telling you, with crypto, you can get weeks like this. So this is the kind of like, trade is what I'm watching for, ideally. But long term, I do think it's going to go up. Thoughts on NQ? So this is the only thing, Stefan. I talked about this to start. I do think that indices might head a little bit lower, but the only problem is I don't like fading. I don't know. I don't like fading indices when the daily chart looks like this. Because all we did is kind of come back to the bottom end of the range. Same thing with NQ, right? Like we're still kind of sitting inside of consolidation, and now we're at the bottom end of the range, and we already took out liquidity. So it's kind of like 50-50 for me. I was leaning a little bit more towards bearish side, but it's just consolidating now. So it's kind of a little bit lower probability than I would like. Yesterday's session uploaded in WAP. So I have to find that recording. I don't know what happened to it. Like when Zoom it was recorded and then Zoom said something about the corruption of the file. So I'm gonna double check. If not, I'm just gonna repeat everything I said in that video. Because again, everything I talked about was more so on the everything I talked about in that session was more so about like GU and ES breakdowns. Yeah, Vish, send me a follow-up email. What is a margin account? It's just like so spot so in crypto, right? Spot is just means like you just buy the asset, there's no margin, right? So like when you trade on the Forex broker, right? You get margin 1 to 100, etc. Right? So you could take on like a one lot position, five lot position, etc. Um Spot is just like I'm just buying the actual asset. There's no leverage. So a margin account, I'm just essentially going to be using leverage to buy or to take the day trade on ETH, if that makes sense. Because spot bags is just like, hey, I just been buying ETH, been buying ETH, been buying ETH. Like you could buy it on whatever, Gemini, Kraken, Binance, etc. All these different crypto exchanges. So yeah, but margin just I want to use leverage to get like a big trade because if I can risk like $5,000 on that trade, where's ETH? Omar, is there coming opportunity to have one-on-one mentoring call at some point? Possibly. Right now, like, I'm gonna have to go in a bit. Like right now, just because I'm opening up a storefront with my brother, in the city. So excited about that. But yeah, once that kind of like blows over, and like everything is done with that, because we have someone who's gonna essentially manage everything for us. Then yeah, maybe to be honest. But if it ever comes up, I'll definitely let you guys know. Okay. But yeah, so ETH is kind of like the play that I'm watching. In terms of margin, it's just yeah. But we'll see how this ultimately plays out. EuroCAD did close as a 4 hour EBP. The only thing I don't like about this EBP now is like I don't like when I see like this wick. I don't like when I see it wicks the low and then. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait for a 15-minute backside move or 30-minute. Right now, this would be the push up, right? I just don't like when I see a wick like that, especially after news. So if it comes like this, and then maybe on the 15-minute, we get like some sort of like EBP or displacement or BPR or fair value gap. As you guys know, in terms of lower time frame confirmations, that's what I'm going to be watching for. So I'm waiting for the backside move. I'm not going to sell this straight up, to be honest. Um, yeah. So I'm going to post this inside of the Omar's trades, and I'm going to be traveling right now. So this is what I'm watching for, so you guys know. But again, like if I'm gonna try to post it instead of Omar trades, but just in case I do get busy, this is kind of what I'm waiting for. Backside structure on the 15-minute. And yeah. And to be honest, yeah, it's still 9:02, so there's still time for this as well. So we'll see how this one plays out. Let me see dollar CAD before I go. Dollar CAD pretty much in consolidation. I could definitely see dollar CAD possibly just going down in here as well, which gives a little bit of room. Well, it's in consolidation, but we'll see. But yeah, guys, appreciate you guys for hopping on. This will be uploaded in the afternoon once I'm back home. Um, I'm gonna assign the homework assignment actually, and we're gonna do the homework assignment actually live. So you guys are gonna do the homework assignment, and then tomorrow we have a session. And let me just go ahead and go to the weekly calendar. So tomorrow's session is live chart review breakdown. So this is going to be essentially me going over the homework assignment, and this session might take an hour, 2 hours. Really doesn't matter to me. I just want to make sure I go through everyone's homework assignment in real time, so I can give you guys actual feedback. So be on the lookout for the homework submission. Have your charts ready, have your trading view charts ready, and then I'll be able to go over it live. And instead of just commenting feedback, I'll be able to break it down for you guys in live. So Gurley, the homework assignment hasn't been posted yet, but I'm going to post it. It's going to be about an EBP play. But perfect. Appreciate you guys. Again, sorry for the session being a little bit low. I have to go meet up my brother. But again, if anything comes up, as always, I'm going to post it inside of here. You guys should already know this by now, Omar's Trades. So yeah, appreciate it, guys, and have a good one.